Real Deal with Dan. Real next.
At the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
For game-changing innovation, look at the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Hey, coming up in an hour, the 5 o'clock Power Hour, Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission is going to join us. They basically did a report on the Orleans Parish Criminal District Court judges and the trials that they take on and the verdicts that they come up with. Judge Campbell, about a 4 out of 5 chance you're going to be found not guilty. Judge Roche, better than that, about a 9 out of 10. 4 out of 5, 79% acquittal rate for Judge Campbell, 88% acquittal rate, not guilty for Judge Roche. Judge Campbell's even worse with violent felonies. Violent felons, 91% chance you're going to get off. Just crazy. Other judges, it's like 58%. Jury trials, it's like 43%. I mean, jury trial, twice the chance you're going to be found guilty. Crazy. And that's a good thing. We want criminals that go to trial that are guilty to be found guilty. But with Campbell and Roche, it's such an outlier. Something's got to be wrong. No, it's hyper woke insanity. Rafael Goyeneche in the 5 o'clock powwow. We're going to talk about that topic and more. It's Tuesday, The Real Deal with Dan Reel. Dan Reel joining us again on the program, former Harrah's regional president, Caesars regional president. Dan, how are you this afternoon?
Doing great, Corey. Thanks for having me on.
Well, my pleasure, man. Glad you're with us again. Hey, New Orleans has had a really bad violent crime problem. We've seen the numbers decrease dramatically, and that's in spite of these crazy judges. That's just Campbell and Roche. I think there's another one, too, with the same type of problem. The police risk their lives. The DA brings the case, and these judges let these criminals go. And when the statistics are like this, Dan, it's really not an opinion. It's almost a fact.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. And Rafael will be able to speak to it much more coherently than I will. But what I will say is the problem is with the system. Obviously, there are legitimate concerns about incarceration, but the way to handle it is not being a rogue judge. And, the intention is to be fair and make sure everybody gets an equal chance. But if you're guilty, you're guilty. And a judge having a 93% clearance rate on violent felony cases, what happens is exactly what you just said. The police morale is going to hit the ground because why even risk your life? And then the second part of that is the defense attorneys are playing the game so they get on those dockets for those individuals, and they know that they're going to a judge trial. And when you start gaming the system, I don't care what the intent is, it takes away the validity of the concern, and it shifts it on to something like this, which at a time where crime isn't as bad as it has been, and it's actually a pretty good story, knock on wood, this takes over the narrative, and rightfully so.
When these criminals know they get in front of these particular judges, their chances of being freed are pretty good, Dan. The problem these judges have, it's not justice. It's not trying to be a judge, someone fair and objective looking at the facts. They go in with an agenda, and sadly, it's criminal first, citizen second.
Yeah, I mean, we talked last week about, the nice job that the city has done partnering with the state to address crime. And if you remember, I brought up that the time is now to double down, do it when things are good. This would be the opposite of that. I mean, you're basically, what are you telling the residents? I mean, in one hand, you're saying, you are looking out for the criminals. But on the other hand, you're putting them right back into the neighborhoods, and the police are chasing them down, and it's all going to come to an ugly outcome. There's no doubt about it. I mean, either these judges are going to get back on track and be held accountable, or we're going to start to see some really bad stuff pick up again, and it never should have happened.
Hey, Dan, I got a slew of topics I want to get with you on. Before we get into the hardcore ones, kind of a pretty cool one, a first American Pope, Pope Leo from Chicago. And this guy has like New Orleans ties to the 7th Ward. His grandmother and grandfather from his mother's side from the 7th Ward in New Orleans. Pretty cool.
Very cool. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I actually went to a seminary for a high school. I was never really in the running to be considered for a priest. It wasn't my... I ended up in the casino business, so that I'll tell you. But I did enjoy it, and actually I tried to do a little backtracking to see if we ever would have crossed paths, and I can't say that I can claim I was ever in the same place as him. But growing up in that area, knowing exactly where he's from, and then living here in New Orleans and hearing about the roots in the 7th Ward. It's all pretty cool, and just really happy that he got a chance. He seems like a genuinely nice guy, and I hope we clean up some of the stuff going on in the church, and it could turn out to be a great thing for the United States.
Yep. Wow, Dan, from the seminary to the casino, did you lose like a fiddle playing contest with a certain person?
No, you know what? The truth is I went to the seminary so I could play 3 sports. I knew if I went to another school, I would have made the team, but probably wouldn't have gotten on the field or the court that much. So kind of backed into it and learned my theology as I went.
You know, I hear you, man. I lasted about a month playing quad A back then, De La Salle football. I remember just getting like hit a few times where I couldn't see for a few seconds. I was like, this team was like 2-8 last year, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm getting my lights knocked out. I need to go play single A or double A ball if I want to play sports. But I was at De La Salle, so no, I hear you. You can go somewhere where you can play. Dan Reel's with us, The Real Deal with Dan Reel. Yeah, there's a lot the Catholic Church needs to clean up. But boy, this kind of, I'm serious. It's almost like I think a lot of Catholics are getting recharged in America and maybe refocusing on the church, committing back to the church, that kind of thing. I don't see a downside to having this guy as Pope.
No, they're chasing down some stuff, as brother said. And, there's always going to be some connections that people make. But, let's judge him on who he is. And then as far as the church goes, again, I'm a Easter, Christmas kind of Catholic. Actually, I should be better than I am. But we went Sunday on Mother's Day with my 3 daughters and my wife. And we went to St. Rita, and the priest was unbelievable. It was a 35-minute mass, but his homily was powerful, and it was packed, Corey. I think they figured out, at least that church does, how to really market to the new Catholics or people that are trying to get reintroduced into the church, because a 35-minute mass with a powerful homily was a great experience.
No, that's how you want it. I used to go to St. Pius when I was a kid, 5:00 mass. We'd be in the car and it would be 5:28. It was like, Father Screen just knew how to do it. St. Rita's what? The big orange brick church sits on its own little pad out there at like the end of Broadway Pine by Walmsley by Dominican.
You got it.
Yeah. No, I need.
My middle daughter found it. I'd say, because it's not near my house, but she found it about a year or so ago. So when we do go, we go to the 5:00 on Sunday, and it's exactly that. It's really cool to see all the families too.
No, I like that. I like 35 minutes. I might pop in. We're visiting with Dan Reel, Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. Hey, Dan, the governor tapped this guy to help get the cities, together for the Super Bowl. And thank God he did, because the council, the mayor, no one had any plans for getting the cities, together for the Super Bowl. They would have done it a month and a half out, not 6-8 months out, which was arguably too soon. But still, Jeff Landry got Michael Hecht, got about 550 things on a punch list. They knocked out a bunch of them. He's going back to Michael Hecht this time to kind of get this international terminal going in St. Bernard, trying to get the St. Bernard parish folks on board and get this thing green lighted.
I think it's a great choice. I've known Michael for about 12 or 13 years from his GNO Inc. starting days. And, I got to know him on the business council a little bit, always had a lot of respect for him. And what happened with the Super Bowl I only grew more fonder of Michael. I think he's a phenomenal business person. He's very pragmatic. He wants to be inclusive. He's not power hungry, and he's very skilled and very talented. And obviously he showed us he can get things done. So Landry did a smart move. If you know somebody's really good, go back to him. It's like the trash conversation we had last week. But Michael is a very sharp guy. I believe that he will absolutely be successful in this new project, and I wouldn't be surprised if he just continues to take on the biggest challenges as a state.
Now, obviously, if I had the role he had, I'd be going down to St. Bernard, talking to my friends that live down there, find out who the big shots are, and if I know them, and try to get them on board, that type of thing. But it isn't my job. My job's talk radio, and Dan, just my personal opinion, St. Bernard folks should be dropping on their knees going, thank you, Lord Jesus. We're getting a $2 billion plus container terminal. It looks like it's going to be expanded, every 5, 8, 10 years, just continued growth, lots of jobs for construction right away, lots of jobs permanently, lots of spin-off stuff all around. We're going to get a hurricane evacuation route from Violet to I-510. That's my opinion. Like, these folks should be thanking God that this clean container terminal is coming. If one of the refineries wanted to expand and create 75 jobs, they'd be doing backward flips for this cancer-causing refinery, which is neat. I'm not against refineries, but this is clean. Think about that, Dan. I'm going to take a quick break. Come right back. More of The Real Deal with Dan Real. Yeah, and we'll pick it up with the international terminal slated to be built, hopefully down in Violet in St. Bernard. Coming right back.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Outdoor dining, Middle Eastern cuisine, under the oak trees, Lebanon's Cafe, some of the city's finest lamb chops and shish kebab, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn, Lebanon's Cafe.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live, we live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again, ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance. Total maintenance keeps you. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Roll call.
Kenner, Metairie, Harahan, River Ridge, Algiers, Gretna, Harvey, Terrytown, West Wego. We got you covered.
The Real Deal with Dan Real, Corey Johnson back at you. Heading into that break, Dan, you got my thoughts on the international terminal. What are you thinking? How should the folks in St. Bernard be thinking?
Yes, I'll be careful with that. Obviously, I told you before, I'm an Orleans Parish person, so I will have a lot of respect for their opinions, and it should be because it's their parish. But it doesn't mean I can't have my own opinion on top of it. And it's really led by the charge of Michael being a part of this. You know, as I said, I have a lot of confidence in him. And as you said, if you were him, you'd be down there shaking hands. I have no doubt he's already done that. I don't know how it's going to turn out as far as fighting up against the project. But we talked last week as well about how when the city was getting rid of the housing projects, people were objecting to that and chaining themselves to the projects and, you know, up against it, making a lot of noise. And it turned out that it turned into beautiful homes and a great story for the city. A lot of people didn't want the troopers in the city. What's going on now? They're partnering with the city, and it's safer than it's been in a long time. And I look at it this way as well. I think what will happen is the parish residents will be heard. They have been heard. It's going on a couple of years now. You got a very skilled leader coming in there, and I think it's going to be a huge boost for the parish and for that area. It's clean. It's new. There's going to be jobs. And, you know, again, I don't see how there could be a downside. Again, I'm not living right next to it and the disruption that will happen. But I can tell you as a citizen of this area and somebody who cares about the community and jobs and the future, I'm happy it's going on.
You know, I'm a St. Bernard resident. I work, you know, this kind of deal. Hey, guys, all for the port facility. We're green lighting it. Thumbs up. You cut the ribbon on the road the day before you cut the ribbon on the port facility. We don't want this airport shenanigans where the airport opens and the access road comes years later. You know, that would be, if I'm St. Bernard, I using old terminology you can relate to, I parlay that into that access road getting built for sure, Dan. I mean, that's key, getting St. Bernard hurricane evacuation route, a elevated causeway type thing. Are you kidding?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's always opposition to everything. And what you need to do is what's best, you know, for the overall. And I think this is best for the overall. We see it in everything you and I have talked about since I've been on this segments. And it's always coming back to the same thing. If you have competent people doing what's best for the city and the state, we have focused on the areas that have made a big difference. And I think in a few years, we'll look back on this and, you know, there won't be a single resident that said they were against it.
Yep. No, I agree. Hey, lastly on this topic, there's kind of two parts to Jeff Landry having Michael Hecht try to transition, go down there to St. Bernard to get those folks on board for this international terminal. It also tells you which side Jeff Landry's on. A few months ago, this Plaquemine port idea popped up.
Yeah.
You know, you have former Senator David Vitters like a lobbyist for it. I like Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, but we disagree on some things. I'm pro mid-Barataria diversion. He's against it. I'm against this port facility. He's for it. So you got Billy Nungesser for it. That's dangerous to me, Dan. That's, someone inside, Caesars wants to open a sub casino in the corner of the building, and it's a separate entity. And, I don't get why we cannibalize ourselves and, work against ourselves. It's one state, one part of the river, not a competing thing. Plaquemine versus St. Bernard, Port of New Orleans versus Port of Plaquemine. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to be a leader in any way, shape, or form, but you have to make some tough decisions. You have to be able to compromise, and then you have to be able to, plant your flag in the ground and tell everybody what you're all about.
Yep.
And so right now, regardless of all the politics, I'm not judging the governor on any of that, other than I like that what he seems to be doing is connecting himself with skilled, talented people who care, and they're getting things done. So all these disputes and who likes what, who doesn't, Billy thought that 1.8 billion was excessive for that project. So everybody's going to have an opinion, and sometimes you have to give it up because the majority feel really strongly about what they're standing up for. And in some cases, you have to speak up because you believe it's what's right for the greater good. And that comes with an election victory. And that's what I say is happening right now is until he does something that really hurts New Orleans or any of us down here, I'm following his lead.
It's the Real Deal with Dan Reel, former Caesars regional president. Has lots of opinions, very informed. He joins us on Tuesday afternoons. It's kind of been a love fest last week and this week. Dan and I always agreeing, but it's not always going to be that way, New Orleans. Stick around. There'll be times where we disagree. You never know which topic it might be. Hey, a judge rules that Henry Consulting come August 1st is going to take over that trash contract. Instead of Ivy Waste continuing through till December, and a rebid for people like Henry Ivy, whoever wants to participate in the fall for the future contract, and ideally at enhanced cleaning that we're seeing with Ivy Waste. Instead, it's a 8-year, $73 million deal. The mayor seems hell-bent on getting Henry in there before Ivy Waste finishes, and more importantly, before it would be rebid. A court's backing the mayor right now. J.P. Morrell and the council may be taking it to the state Supreme Court. They don't want that contract to end. I don't think a lot of people want it to end. They just want to see Ivy Waste go through to December. What are your thoughts, Dan?
100% sticking with Ivy Waste. I mean, I was in the quarter on Sunday with my daughters and my wife. We walked the quarter. It was a beautiful day. A lot of characters out as usual. The city is incredible. And I was happy to see Keep Ivy Waste signs pretty routinely throughout the quarter. And I'm glad that there's at least an effort publicly to make it clear what the citizens want. I don't understand, and probably never will, what the insistence is of this mayor with Henry Consulting. But I will say that it's not like they have a long storied history in garbage pickup.
Right.
Sydney has proven that they do the job, and they've exceeded expectations. And in the world where there is an opportunity to make a change, whether it's, a battle in the court or not, you got to fight for what's right. And you always hear me say, I want good things for the city, and I think the city deserves good things if we could just get out of the way sometimes. And this is another example. This is an area, it looked so good. It smelled good. It was amazing. It was night and day from what it was a few years ago.
Hey, Dan, that is going to be appealed by the council. Donald Trump and his ban of transgender troops, a judge has upheld that. That's going to be appealed. I don't understand things like this. I think in the future, folks are going to look back on this and be embarrassed. It isn't a game. It's not for fun. Adults aren't doing this for, attention. There are people that are obviously born male and people obviously born female. That's a fact. But then they feel that they are the other sex. And if they feel that and want to act that way and live that way, who am I to tell them otherwise? So, of course, there are only two biological sexes, but what people are, Dan, now that's up to them. I don't get it. And I don't think the ban's going to stick. I think there are too many trans people in the military, not huge numbers, but too many that do their job and are good people in the military. So I don't get this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Maybe we will have a little bit of a dispute here. I'm very sympathetic if somebody's going through feeling like they were born in the wrong body or whatever it may be, whatever drives you through that stage of your life or makes you feel like you need to make a change or a decision, that is not a joke. That decision is about as serious as a human can make. But when it comes to the military, I have a little bit of a different feeling. I think you look at what the military was in World War II and you look at what it has become recently. We've been very lucky not to have too many disputes. We shouldn't have been in as many things that we have been in, but the military is not a regular job. And it's not easy to make a decision on this. So I could see multiple sides. What I'll tell you very clear is I think it affects between 1,000 and 4,000 people.
Out of what, about 1 point something million, right?
Yeah, but you have to make a decision on this. So one way or the other, a decision will get made. Will it get repealed? We'll see. And you're right. Maybe in 10 or 20 years from now, we'll look at it and say, this is crazy. I could go back and find the tape of Barack Obama saying gay marriage should be outlawed.
Like 2008, like 15 years ago, not that long ago.
The world's evolving, but this is an area where I'm not as quick to evolve. I do have to admit, I know there's like a Navy fighter pilot who has done like 60 missions, and they're widely viewed as extremely capable and talented and an asset to the military. It's tough to make a decision against somebody like that, but you also have to understand people are, they become families in these small groups, and there's a lot of there's camaraderie, there's support, and when you add things like this into the mix, regardless, I think it takes away from the ability of the military to stay focused and keep the standards as high as possible.
Hey, Dan, hold that thought. I'm not cutting you off. I'm going to come right back, let you finish up. I got to knock out this quick break. It's The Real Deal with Dan Real.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes, a magazine as unique as you.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
maintenance, total maintenance king. TM-AC.com, your cool spot. TM-AC.com, your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Interlocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Interlocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Interlocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Producing tomorrow's talk radio today, Corey Johnson.
This is tomorrow's newspaper. Precisely. I already went further ahead into time to see what else happens.
Your View, Louisiana. That's Cox Channel 4 in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette. And live streaming at CoreyTalks.com.
Future. Unbelievable.
My mom wanted to go to Lebanon's Cafe on Sunday for Mother's Day. That's where me and my brother took her. We were there. My mom got lamb chops. She's probably still eating those lamb chops. 6 big lamb chops, pick a couple of Middle Eastern sides. I think now like $32, something like that. One of the best lamb chop deals anywhere. They're open till 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe, Carrollton at Jeanette by the streetcar barn. Dan, I apologize with that break train coming down the tracks. You don't mind maybe the Supreme Court allowing Trump's ban on transgender troops to take effect?
You know, I thought over the break, this is a tough topic. And I was also thinking that no matter what I say or you say, there is a group that is vocally opposed to whatever is going to come out of my mouth right now. But what I will say, as I thought about it, is it's really hard because on one hand, I am the guy that you talk to and all I talk about is meritocracy, right? You hire people who deserve it, regardless of who they are, where they come from. If they're the best at the job, they should get the job. And now I find myself backpedaling a little bit here. And I'll be honest, I think this is the first time that I've been on your show where I didn't have what I viewed as my own personal slam dunk. But I'm glad we teed this up because it's a big topic in many ways. But I will say, if I had to show support one way or the other right now, I would get behind the Supreme Court decision, and I would just hope that the military figures out a path forward. And I hope that, the world that the transsexuals are living in, you hope that there's some clarity that starts to pop up because it's really a gray area now, and it's not all the same. To some, it's a different name and it's a haircut, and to others, it's full on, everything. And I'm not there to judge anybody because I have no idea what's going on inside their brain. But when it comes down to the military, I think that's where I draw the line. And again, I'm sure from a meritocracy standpoint, there is a big argument for this, but there's also a lot to be said about the ability to be one unit. And I just defer to that and the ruling. And in this one, I guess I'm kind of wimping out on you and just going to leave it there.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your points, one unit, all that. I don't think it ceases being that. I'll never forget, I'm at a party, a buddy of mine's about 10, 12, 15 years ago, and we're in the backyard by the pool. It's in Houston, and these girls are like, oh, my God, you look so good. These 3, pretty good-looking girls, and they're talking to this girl who's walking up, and I turn, and right away I'm like, that's some dude, I'm like, big old guy. And that was my first thought. And my second thought was, within a second, I'm like, this guy has transitioned. I didn't know the term. I was like, this guy is, transsexual, whatever, wants to be a woman, and they're like, you look so great. And I'm like, they're serious. Like, so I was like, within a second, I'm like, this is how it is. So just being around that made me feel comfortable. Whereas if there could have been like some dude nudging me going, look at this, and then you're making fun of something that makes you, uncomfortable. Look, Dan, I didn't look at that girl that is male, naturally born male and large in size. And it wasn't like easy or comfortable. I don't think it has to be easy or comfortable, but I do think, and I'm not saying you, I think people get scared of homosexuality or tattoos and piercings, long hair, and the more and more that it's out there, I mean, look how conservative types have embraced, like, the show with the duck hunters up north 15 years ago, Duck Dynasty. A generation ago, they would have never let those hooligans in their house with the long hair and beard. They can't be God-serving people, So we get more comfortable with that. We get more comfortable with homosexuality, get more comfortable with it's like being up on something tall. You get used to the height after a while and you're not scared. It's not all easy or comfortable, but that's how I feel about it. I think you mentioned if the soldier kicks butt, who cares if they're male, female, trans or not, gay or straight? I'm in a foxhole with that person that's a great soldier. I don't care who they are.
Yeah, I mean, in life, that's how I stand on that issue. But again, I do think the military is a little bit different, and maybe I'm going to be proven wrong in this, and it's all going to go swimmingly, and we will look back and I'll feel foolish about even questioning it. But it's one of those things that I think I'd be lying if I didn't admit that when you see certain cases, it's obvious and it's different. And that doesn't mean it's bad, but I don't know if we as a society are there yet. And so do you make changes in that type of a situation? That's a tough one. I would have to defer to the military, but I like to give opinions. And what I would say is right now, I'm okay if they do make that change. I hope there's a soft landing and a respectful transition out of the position and treated with respect while the military figures out what it's going to become. And in the meantime, I have no problem with that being treated differently than if I was working at IBM in a cubicle. I think the time will come where that's secondary, but I don't know if we're there yet. I know that I even have a little bit of reservation, not about the decision, not about the person, but about the overall situation that others are put in as well as that person.
No, I mean, I disagree with you, but at least I can respect you where you're coming from, especially where a lot of the folks coming from the angle that agree with the ban, they think that it's not real. Like, you don't think these people are transitioning real? I mean, those folks that don't believe it's real are living in denial. And then the thing about they're two sexes, male and female, you can't change. That has nothing to do with it. Of course, there's just male and female, but obviously people can change. It's in front of our very eyes. Dan, next week, I promise you, I'm going to let you get in the last word. Thanks so much, man. I look forward to every Tuesday with you.
Later, Corey.
That's the Real Deal with Dan Real. We do it every Tuesday. That's Blue Boy barking. Yeah, next week, Dan gets the last word for sure. Hey, we're coming right back. 5 o'clock powwow while Rafael Goyeneche joins us.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line. Lebanon's Cafe.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots. Total maintenance keeps you cool. TM-AC.com, your cool spots.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now. Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro Premier Day Spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's Premier Day Spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville, the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Oh, yeah. 5 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon. Boy, if you beeline it across the causeway at this very moment, Why don't you fire in a to-go order at Trey Inn? Problem solved for dinner. Curbside delivery. They'll walk that order right out to your car. Heading to the North Shore? Call in a to-go order right now. Trey Inn in Mandeville. You darn tootin'. Tootin'. You darn tootin'. It is New Orleans. Wow. By golly, I'm going to say darn tootin' and by golly in the same sentence. We're going back to Mayberry. It's 1950. It's The Clean Show with Corey Johnson. All our jokes are clean, suitable for all ages. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. A yug, 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 yug. A yug, yug, yug. All right, that's today's program. Basically, because I started the 5 o'clock hour just like that, we decided to bail on the program. Miss Peaches has rolled her eyes. She's walking out the studio. She's holding up a sign that says "This sucks," and she's protesting. Bye, Miss Peaches. And soon the power will go down because Miss Peaches isn't here, and I'm just be going off the air any minute now. What a crappy way to start the show. By golly. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. 766-9480. No, this isn't vodka, just water. Just water. Sometimes you think it's vodka. 766-9480 is how you dial us up. If you missed the last hour, every Tuesday, The Real Deal with Dan Real. Conservative leaning, very opinionated, keeps up with the news and the topics. He's going to be joining us every Tuesday. And yeah, like the last topic, transgender troop ban, there's going to be a lot of stuff we disagree on and a lot of commonsensical stuff that we're going to agree on because I don't think either one of us is extreme, in one direction or the other. Anyway, The Real Deal with Dan Real, 4 o'clock hour on Tuesdays. Hey, coming up in about 10 minutes, Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission is going to join us. They just did a fact-based study, number of trials, number of verdicts, and the results. Judge Campbell, 79% acquittal rate. A 4 out of 5 chance if you're in front of Judge Campbell, you're going to be going free. You'll be found not guilty. 4 out of 5 chance. Judge Roche, even more egregious. 9 out of 10 chance. 9 out of 10, you'll be found not guilty. 88% acquittal rate. How'd you like to be the policeman making the arrest, the DA bringing the case to the judge? The police aren't going, hey, this is sort of a half-ass arrest. The DA isn't going, wow, it's a half-ass arrest by the police. We're going to even half-ass it more and prosecute this and bring it in front of a judge, and then the judge, 88% acquittal, not guilty. All the other judges, it's like 58% not guilty, which seems excessively high. And then a jury trial, it's like 43%. So jury trial, a 43% chance you'll be found not guilty. In front of Judge Roche, 88% chance you'll be found not guilty, more than double. No, so these are outliers. They're exceptions. It's not like, wow, they just got a caseload of faulty, police work and bad work by the DA, and these people are all innocent. Innocent until proven guilty. It's not easy. And then when you have judges like Campbell, 79% acquittal rate, Roche, 88% acquittal rate, it makes it impossible. So Rafael Goyeneche is recommending that some legislation change to hold these judges accountable. Orleans Parish Criminal District Court. Just crazy. Anyway, Rafael Goyeneche, not an opinion. These are facts. These are sheer numbers. This is data. This is reality. It's not a poll. It's not an opinion. And it's funny, when you go to some of these judges' websites, there's some of them are still left up. I'm going to find the one that's still left up when they were running for office. And it's all about the criminal and letting, making sure the criminal doesn't get screwed around and the criminal gets a break. And I mean, I don't know what the mentality is. Seriously. I don't know what the mentality is. Just hyper woke liberal. I grew up in an environment where a lot of criminals were around me and I want to give them a break. The criminals deserve a break. The people that aren't around criminals, that don't deal with crime, don't know what it's like to be a criminal. I mean, I don't know what the agenda is, but it's criminal first, citizen like second or third. It's all about, let me have some insane empathy and sympathy towards this criminal, this violent felon. I mean, Campbell with violent felonies, 91% acquittal rate. 91%. That's just unacceptable. And it's amazing crime has been reduced as much as it has been when you got these two crazy judges that are out for the criminal. 9 lives like a cat. Let's give the criminal the 50th chance. I mean, some of these criminals are like late teens, early 20s, and they have a rap sheet that's a mile long. Multiple arrests, multiple convictions, and these judges let them go. Hey, give me a 20th chance. Someone's got to be on your side. Be a judge, fair and objective, and you're trying to create justice for all citizens, the criminals and the citizens, the people that aren't criminals that are being charged and the regular citizens. It's called justice. And when you have a 79% acquittal rate and an 88% acquittal rate, that's not justice. Not when juries have a 43% acquittal rate. These judges have double that. Like not a better chance than not, you're going to be not guilty. It's hard to find where someone's guilty in Judge Campbell and Judge Roche's court. No, in front of a jury, 43% not guilty. That even seems high. I'll get Rafael Goyeneche's take. They did the report, the Metropolitan Crime Commission, on this. Now, I can't believe there are not things in place already that stay on top of these judges to make sure they don't have some crazy whacked agenda, clear agenda. This just hyper woke, insanely like loony left liberal, like criminal first, citizen second mentality. That's dangerous. No one wants a judge anywhere that's criminal first, citizen second. It's crazy. It's citizens first. Citizens first, and justice for everybody, those being charged and the citizens. We want justice. It's not justice when you have that kind of not guilty percentage. Rafael Goyeneche will join us to discuss it. Boy, Fox 8 has this Unity of New Orleans story. You need to check it out. This nonprofit that spends like 45, 50 million a year, like $1 million a week, basically. They spend almost $1 million a week for homeless in Metro New Orleans. You think spending that amount of money, there would be no homelessness problem in Metro New Orleans and Jefferson Parish primarily. They refuse to be audited. I guess so. I mean, Unity of New Orleans has to be setting up some folks in homes and setting up a bunch of their own with money. $216 million spent in the last 5 years for homeless initiatives in Orleans and Jefferson Parish primarily. That's like nearly $1 million a week. Why don't we see some incredible results from that? And why do they refuse to be audited? Reduced Ethics Board reach. That's House Bill 674. It's already pretty weak and limited. I don't get why they would want to make the ethics board even weaker in Louisiana. Anyone's like, boy, that ethics board in Louisiana really goes after and gets the politicians that have ethics violations. It's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. And they want to make it weaker. The politicians are complaining like, they're always bothering me. It's unbelievable. NOLA.com had an article, Jimmy's Music Club coming back on Willow right off Carrollton. That was a legendary place. I think my first concert was at Jimmy's like in 9th grade, 10th grade. The Radiators back in the, 40 years ago. Yikes, more than that. Yeah, 40 years ago. Wow. Really? Scary. Corey Johnson with you on a Tuesday. More than 40 years, 85 years. Young's Dry Cleaning since 1940. Truly a New Orleans institution. Want to experience the best dry cleaners in the city? It's easy. Young'sDryCleaning.com. Walk-up locations, free pickup and delivery, manless locker location. Young'sDryCleaning.com.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. Total maintenance keeps you cool.
Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right.
Helm Paint.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamar Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
Greater New Orleans, a destination for learning. With 13 colleges and universities and a booming job market, Greater New Orleans is the ultimate destination for your higher education. Your path to the future begins in Greater New Orleans. Find out more at studynola.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City. The true voice of New Orleans, telling it like it is.
I'm very important.
Here's the mouth of the South, Corey Johnson.
Kind of a big deal.
Hey, speaking of a big deal, Latrim, the global manufacturing giant based right here out of New Orleans, they're hiring. If you go to Latrim's website, latrim.com, they have a full listing of positions available. And it's not like 2 or 3 job openings. Dozens and dozens and dozens of job openings. A job, a career for you at latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M. Latrim.com for a full listing of positions available. Go to the website right now. Judge Campbell, 79% acquittal rate. Judge Roche, 88% not guilty. Jeez, unbelievable. Rafael Goyeneche from the Metropolitan Crime Commission, his organization put together these statistics, these facts. It's all real. He joins us live on the program. How you doing, Rafael?
Hey, good afternoon, Corey. How are you?
Doing well, man, until I saw that sickening report you put together. I mean, we're finally getting a grip on crime. This is like where you want to double down. And, boy, Campbell and Roche's acquittal rate is sickening.
So, probably the least scrutinized component of the criminal justice system is the judiciary. The police department, the DA's office, they all operate in a fishbowl. When it comes to the judges, people rarely get a look behind the curtain. So a few weeks ago, we did a deep dive, taking a look behind the curtain on performance metrics for judges. One of the things that we noticed when we did that dive that we didn't include in that initial report were the trial statistics, because only about 5% or less of the cases close pursuant to a trial. So, but when I looked at the trial numbers, I knew that we were going to be issuing another report, and that's the report that we released today that I'm talking to you about. So, under Louisiana law, Louisiana is one of 19 states that still grant to the defense the exclusive right to waive a jury and be tried by a judge. 31 other states in the federal court system require both parties to agree before a jury can be waived. So, in criminal district court, there, over a 3-year period of time, there were 230 jury trials and 123 judge trials. Yet Judge Campbell and Judge Roche, and Judge Roche's only been on the bench for 1 full year. So his numbers, are 1 year. Judge Campbell's are 3 years. In 1 year, defendants went into his court with felony cases and opted for a judge trial in lieu of a jury trial. And the common denominator with all trials is all of the investigations are conducted by the police department, and all of the prosecutions are presented by the district attorney's office. The court has approved a random allotment process. You can't forum shop. The cases are equally and fairly distributed throughout the court. So if there are any bad cases, no one section of court, no one judge is going to get a lot of them. There'll just be a few. So what happens is when your case is allotted to Judge Campbell's section of court or Judge Roche's section of court, and you can't reach a compromise with the district attorney's office, you don't want to plead your client guilty, the only option is to go to trial. In 11 of the other sections of court, defense attorneys overwhelmingly choose to have their clients tried by a jury. In those 2 sections of court, they are opting for judge trials at rates that don't approach the rates that exist in the other sections of court. And the reason that defense attorneys are opting for judge trials before those judges is because of the stats that we just talked about. The criminal defense bar, they don't need this report to determine which judges are more favorable to the defense side of the equation. They inherently know that. that's why in Judge Campbell's section of court, she had 47 judge trials over a 3-year period of time. And her overall conviction rate was 79%. But when you take a look at felony crimes of violence, she had 23 judge trials. Defendants walked into her court charged with a crime of violence. They waived the jury, opted to be tried by a judge, and she acquitted 21 of the 23 cases that she served as the trier.
Wow. 91%.
91%. That cannot be explained by the fact that she just got more than her fair share of bad cases. The burden of proof for jury trials is the same burden of proof that a judge has to apply to every case. And as I pointed out, all of the cases throughout the court are made by the police department and the DA's office. It's statistically impossible for those outcomes to occur unless a judge has a prejudice or bias that is manifested in their verdicts. And that's what we point out with this data. So, this isn't a couple of cases. This is 3 years worth of data. And in the case of Judge Roche, it's only 1 year. But most judges may have 2 or 3 judge trials per year. So when you see an aberration like you have with Judge Campbell over a 3-year period of time,
yep,
and then Roche's first year on the bench, it gets your attention.
No doubt.
That's why we issued this report. That's why, the public, I think, is entitled to know the judges that are serving on this bench that are supposed to be applying the law fairly and evenly to everybody aren't fulfilling that obligation. And what's the solution to this? These judges are elected. You only get to come up for election, not this fall, but next fall. But unless somebody elects to challenge an incumbent judge, the public isn't going to have the opportunity to either vote this person out of office or vote for him. Because unless someone qualifies against an incumbent, they're reelected.
There's not some entity that overlooks what these judges are doing, Rafael?
Well, so the entity that can overlook this is the Louisiana Judiciary Commission. So the judges have great discretion in doing this. I cannot prove, I didn't sit in and watch all of these trials. So I'm looking at this from a statistical standpoint. You don't have these numbers, because of the random allotment process. There's no way that these numbers would be supported by the fact that under the random allotment process, these judges got an overwhelmingly high number of investigations and or poor prosecutions. It just is statistically highly unlikely.
How many judges in Orleans Parish Criminal District Court?
12 judges.
Yeah, 12. It does it, right?
Over felony sections of court.
All right, so you got 12 judges. You got 10 of them average out to about a 58% acquittal rate. So Campbell's 20 points higher. Roche's 30 points higher. I mean, yep. and then the jury trial, they're double. Jury trial, your statistics show 43% acquittal. Campbell and Roche are double that number. So definitely when you're in their court, if you're a criminal, you want to get rid of the jury. And I don't see how these outliers, Campbell and Roche, don't get this Louisiana Judiciary Commission's, dander up where they're like, I got to look into this.
Well, so those investigations usually take forever. So what we're proposing happen, and now that we've exposed it, the Judiciary Commission can act upon it if they believe that it's an issue.
Yep.
But those proceedings are secret unless and until they go to discipline. Only then do they become public. So what we're seeing is investigations involving judicial misconduct probably take the better part to 3 to 4 years to play out. So what we're proposing is let's just change the law.
Yeah.
As I started out saying, 31 states in the federal court system that have the same due process rights, the same constitutional guarantees as Louisiana. They allow and require not just the defense, but the prosecution to have a say in the method of trial. Why should it only be one party? So a few years ago, people were rightfully critical of non-unanimous verdicts. They felt that it was manifestly unfair to the defendant to be convicted by the vote of 10 jurors and not a unanimous jury pool.
Right.
12. So that same principle, I believe, applies here, where, the objective is to be fair, not compromise anybody's rights. The defendant has a right to a jury trial.
Yep.
So does, I believe, the state of Louisiana and the people of Louisiana, and they're represented by the district attorney.
Yeah. Only when both sides would agree to 86 the jury should it be allowed. That seems like common sense. Hey, Rafael, hang on. I'm going to knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up on the other side. Rafael Goyeneche's with us.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com. Dave Miet Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miet, INSagency.com.
Does Helm Paint have the best paint on the planet? Helm, yeah. We only sell Benjamin Moore, the world's finest paint. Because paint ain't paint. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on magazine, as unique as you.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love. More. When you do something, you have to do it right. It's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex, there's something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We do in all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience. Right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
You can say anything you please about me, but don't say anything bad about Blue Boy.
Down, Blue Boy. Good buddy. Rafael Goyeneche is with us from the Metropolitan Crime Commission. Rafael, sorry to cut you off there going into that break, but the legislation will it be this session or it would have to be next session?
That'd have to be the next session. Yeah, so it's something that have to be introduced. Yeah, I've been talking about this for years, but now that we have some data, we had to look at 3 years worth of cases that closed in criminal district court. That's close to 10,000 cases that we had to look at to dig this information out. It's a lot of work. And I don't believe for a second that the problems that I just described in New Orleans are exclusively confined within the corporate limits of the courthouse of this, in the city of New Orleans. I think these are problems that exist in other parts of the state too. The problem is that this type of data is rarely, if ever, extracted from the system.
Right.
We're an organization that has historically done that, but not every city or parish has organizations like that are willing to do this. And, this is, I think, an indication, a problem that judges that were elected, and these are both rookie judges, they're in their first term of office. They were elected on a progressive platform. I heard you talking about that their platforms were defendant-centric.
Yep.
A judge is supposed to be fair and impartial. They don't have the luxury of advocating for one side or the other. They're supposed to be the referees and making sure that everyone is following the law, and that applies to them. So when they are trying a case in lieu of a jury, the burden of proof and the law that applies to jurors applies to those judges. And I think these results confirm that these judges are not following the law that they took an oath of office to fulfill when they were sworn into the bench. And the public may not get a chance to vote for these people in 2 years if no one challenges them for election and they get elected again for another term in office.
Yep.
So that's why I think we need to change the law. It's amending the Constitution and changing a statute. So it's relatively simple, and I think that this data is providing compelling reasons and justification for changing that law. Put Louisiana on the same foot as 31 other states and the federal court system, and I think that this becomes a non-issue moving forward.
No, so glad you guys chose to do this. So glad you got the info out. Yeah, that's power, and hopefully legislation changes. Hopefully voters, when it's time to vote for judges, the competition brings this up. I don't know general statistics on guilty, not guilty, but all the other judges, it's 58%. That seems sort of high, that 58% acquittal rate, like the majority of cases. Is that normal?
So what makes this, these two judges so compelling, it's not just the verdicts, but the quantities of cases. So most judges may have a handful of judge trials over a 3-year period of time. Some judges have, 4. Some judges, this is over 3 years. A couple of judges had 2 over 3 years. The next closest judge for defendants opting into a judge trial, next to Judge Campbell, she had double. She had 47 over a 3-year span. The next closest judge had 20 over a 3-year span. So it's not a problem for the rest of the court. But when you have the quantities of defendants walking in and their counsel walking into court and waiving the jury to be opted to be tried by a specific judge, that's tantamount to forum shopping. The defense bar, their objective is not justice. Their objective is the best possible outcome for their clients. And giving the exclusive authority to decide on whether someone's going to be tried by a judge or jury to one party is manifestly unfair. I believe that the prosecution, which represents the people of Louisiana, should have a say in that. And, the data for these courts, their acquittal rates, the volume of judge trials conducted by these judges, I think, is the justification to change the law to prevent and protect the public from this type of injustice occurring moving forward.
Hey, Rafael, you said only 5% go to trial?
At most. And that's in every jurisdiction. Most of the cases are going to be closed with guilty pleas.
Gotcha.
People pleading guilty.
Is that that's the case here as well? There's not that maw thing where the DA is letting people off, the assistant DA.
Well, I mean, so there's, when we issue reports, people, historically, prosecutors talk about their conviction rates. They don't tell you that, of the, 10,000 cases that are submitted to them by arrest by the police department, they may decline 40 or 50% of them. So that 10,000 gets down a little down to 5,000. And then they were arrested for a felony. Prosecutor may charge them with a misdemeanor, or they may charge them with a felony and later reduce it to a misdemeanor. So that's why it's important to look at everything that happens. We track literally every arrest that is made in the city of New Orleans by the New Orleans Police Department, now by the Louisiana State Police, and we follow those arrests through the rest of the criminal justice system. So we're the only organization that does something like that. And when you have that type of information, that allows us to frame what issues are that are impacting public safety and the performance and effectiveness of the criminal justice system. And we issue reports routinely on the police department, the district attorney's office, the judges, and the jail. So you have to look at the whole continuum to determine what's working, what isn't working, and if something isn't working, it's not enough to just say that there's a problem. You need to talk about what some of the solutions are. In this particular case, the solution, in my opinion, is to change the law. Put Louisiana on the same footing as 31 other states and the federal government, requiring both the prosecution and the defense to have to agree before a jury can be waived, a jury trial can be waived.
Hey, Rafael, before we let you go on a entirely different subject, do you get the feeling, do you know any information maybe to back up the feeling that Mayor Cantrell won't be indicted?
I don't know. I really don't. I've said this multiple times on your show and other shows. I've never seen an individual indicted for bribing a public official and not see the public official indicted. So in this particular case, Randy Farrell was indicted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Louisiana,
right,
for bribing Public Official 1. But we have yet to see Public Official 1 indicted.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Raphael, how can folks get...
I don't have an explanation. That's my answer.
No, that's a hell of a good point. Hey, how can folks get your weekly email blasts of crime statistics, and then like the report that I got via email about the judges?
Right. Anybody that, there's no charge. We want this information to go out to the public. We're a nonprofit organization. People financially support us, but they want us to get the word out. So anybody that wants to receive the information that, we are mining from the New Orleans criminal justice system, just go to the Crime Commission's website, metrocrime.org, and you could subscribe to receive, our weekly updates on all the various aspects of the criminal justice system at no charge. Just give us your email address and we'll put you in our email, blast, and you'll get some information from us on a weekly basis. Many of the reports that we issue, we come out with a new report about every week, tracking crime trends. Sometimes it's more in-depth than others. This is a unique report. And, you saw it because we emailed it to you as we emailed it to the media. A bunch of stations did interviews with me today. We want to get the word out, and it's free.
metrocrime.org. You can either get on that email list or just go to the website and check it all out yourself, including this report and all the statistics about Judge Campbell and Roche. metrocrime.org. Raphael, always a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey. Take care.
Yep, you too. That's Rafael Goyeneche. Boy, what a great report. Who else is doing this? Thank goodness for these watchdogs like, the IG's office, Metropolitan Crime Commission, these media types like Lee Zurich and Travers Mackel that do all this, David Hammer, all this heavy lifting. No, it's not easy. And then they get this true fact-based statistics, and that's how change happens. We can sit here and go, don't like the judges in New Orleans. Why? Because they don't like them. They let criminals free. Now you got the actual statistics. Good stuff. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Scott Craig of Katie's Restaurant.
All of my ingredients are fresh. Nothing comes out of a can here. Nothing. All of our seafood is Louisiana. All of our vegetables are Louisiana vegetables. It's a neighborhood restaurant.
Katie's in Mid-City.
Some people think paint is paint. Well, it ain't. Paint ain't paint. At Helm Paint, we only sell Benjamin Moore because it's the best paint on the planet. In the end, you'll save time, effort, and money because Benjamin Moore paints cover beautifully in less coats. So the next time you pick up a brush, remember, big box, big mistake. Because paint ain't paint. To get the best, you gotta go to Helm. Let us steer you right. Helm Paint.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations, New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Tired of cleaning your gutters? Improve the value and look of your home with Leaf Guard gutters. And you'll never have to clean your gutters again. Ever. I guarantee it. Let Audubon Gutters install Leaf Guard gutters today. You'll improve the look and value of your home. And right now is the perfect time during Audubon Gutters' 99-cent installation sale. Call 469-6494 now.
Get out of that gutter and get on the phone. At Audubon Gutters.
Have you been to the new Tracy's on Magazine? There's no better sports bar restaurant in the entire city. Tracy's is inside of a 100-year-old building with literally dozens and dozens of flat-screen TVs, including a 120-inch monster. Tracy's has everything you're looking for in a sports bar, including arguably the best roast beef po' boy in town. When it's time to check out your favorite teams, make it Tracy's on Magazine at Pleasant, in between Washington and Louisiana. Legendary Tracy's in the Garden District.
Total maintenance, keep you TM-AC.com, no cool spots. TM-AC.com, no cool spots.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground.
Roll call.
Arabi, Chalmette, Violet, Lafitte, New Orleans East, Slidell, Mandeville, Covington, Hammond, Homa, Thibodaux. We got you covered.
We do have you covered every day, doing it from the Delaberto Total Maintenance Studios, on radio, on television, on YouTube. Total Maintenance. Honest air conditioning experts that come immediately. It's getting hot. Chances are you're not going to need an air conditioning guy because everything's going to be working right. But some of you will. It's unfortunate, but somebody's going to have an AC not blowing cold enough, making a funny noise, or worse, not working at all. In New Orleans, in Baton Rouge, if you need air conditioning help, think Total Maintenance. TM-AC.com. If you need air conditioning help in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, think Total Maintenance. TM-AC.com. Yeah, every day we broadcast live from the Buddy Delaberto Total Maintenance Studios. Tuesday afternoon edition of the program. It's getting hot. That little reprieve we had Saturday, Sunday, early yesterday, it's gone. A little cool this morning for a second. Like, I'm up early, 6:30. By 7:30, it was in the 70s. Started out about 65. That was quick. And I don't think we're going to see 60s again until like October. And literally, we won't see the 60s again until October probably. And we're going to see 90s starting tomorrow, like pretty much every day, looking at weather.com. That 10-day forecast, lots of 90s as our high. That's brutal. That's harsh. Hey, if you just missed the program, you're just joining us, you missed Rafael Goyeneche. They did a lot of tough work on this, a lot of hours put into this, and they came up with just some glaring outliers. There are a dozen Orleans Parish criminal district judges. Two of them stand out as basically, if you're a criminal, ideally get in Judge Campbell or Judge Roche's court. And if you're a criminal, get your lawyer to say, we don't want a jury trial, we want a judge trial. Because a jury trial, there's only a 43% chance you'll be found not guilty. But if you go in front of Judge Campbell, 79% chance you'll be found not guilty. Go in front of Judge Roche, 88% chance. Judge Campbell, 4 out of 5 chance, 4 out of 5. You'll be found not guilty by this judge. Judge Roche, 9 out of 10. You'll be found not guilty. Absolutely insane, crazy. Now, those judges, they need to be held accountable. Next election, somebody running against them needs to bring up these crazy statistics, this criminal first, citizen second mentality. It's crazy. Thank God for Rafael Goyeneche and the Metropolitan Crime Commission. People that are weary of them are like the IG's office, and there's like some lightweight FM disc jockey type that's on some crazy AM bigoted station and constantly is dogging Rafael Goyeneche, constantly dogging the Inspector General's office, propping up the mayor, propping up the sheriff, like on the wrong side of things clearly. Like not just contrary to a major fault, like not just, hey, I like strawberry and everybody's getting vanilla. It's, I like deviant behavior. I like criminals. I like folks that are deviants and the watchdogs that are protecting all citizens, regardless of race, religion, political ideology. They criticize them. Now, that's just how deviant people, criminal minds think. They think that's how you're going to think. No, so they don't like the legitimate folks and they like the deviant folks. That's why they're always propping up this particular guy, propping up the mayor, propping up the sheriff. Here's the crazy kicker. This lunatic, this lightweight DJ guy who does a talk show and praises the mayor and praises the sheriff has a full-time job working at the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Department. The Sheriff Hudson hired this guy full-time salary, full-time benefits, has no policing, sheriff, experiencing, nothing in his degree, none of it. Just got a job because kissing the sheriff's rear end. And the sheriff rewarded this person by giving them a full-time job with benefits. And this person is still on the air kissing the sheriff's rear end. No, those are the folks you have to worry about. Righteous folks, black, white, Republican, Democrat, righteous folks. They like Ed Michel, the tenacious pit bull at the Office of Inspector General, doing his job in politically corrupt, crazy New Orleans. And they like Rafael Goyeneche for decades with the Metropolitan Crime Commission, a nonprofit, doing a lot of great work. Like, how else are you going to know Judge Campbell, 79% acquittal rate, Judge Roche, 88% acquittal rate? It would have to be Rafael Goyeneche doing the dirty work, doing the hard work, or the IG's office doing the work, or a media type like Hammer or Lee Zurich or Travers Mackle, someone like that. No, thank God for the watchdogs, because we have problems with elected officials and how public money is being spent in New Orleans, the metro area, and the state of Louisiana. I'm pro-watchdogs. Pro-watchdogs. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. And remember, as we're fading out the door, paint ain't paint. Helm Paint and Decorating in New Orleans, 7 locations, East Bank, West Bank, North Shore. Yeah, paint ain't paint. Say no to the big box. Say no to the national chain. Say yes to Helm Paint and Decorating. 4 locations in Baton Rouge. When it's time to paint in Metro New Orleans, when it's time to paint in Metro Baton Rouge, you go to Helm Paint and Decorating, because paint ain't paint. Benjamin Moore, the finest paint on the planet. That's Blue Boy barking up a storm. What's that, Blue Boy? You're ready for some painting. Let's go to Helm. It's the only place to go in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, buddy. Thank you to Dan Reel for joining us and Rafael Goyeneche. Mañana, Wide Open Wednesday, 4 p.m.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
It's 6 p.m.